So, Dr. Elizabeth, I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, I'm so excited to meet you too, Dr.
Mark's
Christina.
amazing because he's really, so when I met Mark, I don't know, he probably hasn't told you any of this. When I met him, he was like angry. And I was like, what? And he said to me, I'm kind of angry inside. I don't know if you know that. And I go, no, you're not. You're beautiful, because he's such a beautiful person.
He's a beautiful spirit.
A beautiful spirit. And I don't think he was angry. I think he was shy. And I hope I don't ever embarrass him by saying that. He's such a good man, good person. And he's trying to do a lot of good things. He is doing a lot of good things. Because our company is actually, I know he may have told you this, but I really started it on spiritual, emotional, and mental health.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's my background. It's what I care about so
Right.
much. But because I'm a scientist and I worked for a while in pharmaceutical and biotech, and I ran company, I just did different things in that space.
And they don't always go hand in hand.
No, but for
do
me, they do. Because for me, what's the point of being healthy if you're not healthy emotionally, mentally, and psychologically? Spiritually, if you don't feel connected, why are you here?
It's everything.
It's everything.
Everything.
That's
and
why I
it's
was excited to
secure
talk
to
to you.
everything,
Yeah,
too.
it
really
is. I mean, I remember when I was working in the pharmaceutical industry, and we would go in to do trials, and there would be people that we were getting ready to put on a human monoclonal antibody or a drug because they were really sick. And it maybe in some cases it's the worst scenario, right? And there's no other option. And then all of a sudden they would get better, right? And we were like, wait a minute, they haven't started this product yet. And that's when we, it really started hitting me. And of course, I am very strong spiritually. It started hitting me that when I would ask questions, that they always were people praying for them, or they changed their spiritual belief and process emotionally and mentally. They were focused on the change. A lot of times they would change their eating habits, or take something that was healthier, or do something that was healthier. So I started making those connections, but we don't report that, right, when you're doing a drug for the FDA. And it became just overwhelming to me, understanding how big spiritual, emotional, mental connections are into improving people's actual health. Right.
It's so huge. Well, if you take out the core of what's bothering them, you take that out, the body will heal itself. And I know you know that. And people don't realize that. And so a lot of times, sometimes it's necessary to put them on a protocol, as you well know.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, if you're able to heal what's the issue, if you
Yeah.
heal that, I believe every physical ailment has a spiritual, emotional, and energetic
I do
component
too.
to it. And when you remove that, when you heal that, the person gets better. I've seen that time and time and time again.
I have too, but I always say this because I want people to know that doesn't mean that like someone that gets cancer or is sick doesn't need a surgery or doesn't need a treatment. And that's the only time I really, because sometimes in some environments people will actually die rather than getting help. And a lot of times you need a combination of everything. And I say this constantly.
Yes.
In my world, because we're all different, and I celebrate differences. So you could think completely opposite, and that doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
In my world, though, my belief system, I think that spiritually, certain people are placed here to be solutions, and those include doctors and scientists and spiritual leaders. So you have to listen to all of that. You can't block it out and say, I'm never open to ever doing anything that could physically.
That's the key word, open.
Yeah.
Have to be in that opening. The universe can come in and do everything you
But
want it to do.
unfortunately, a lot of people aren't open spiritually.
Because they hang on,
they're not.
hanging on to certain beliefs that they had, core beliefs they had that aren't necessarily even true, that they've had since they were younger, and they're not open. And if you don't have that opening, you can't. It's in the opening of listening to another side that's everything.
I know. I was interviewing Esai. He's an actor. He's in Mission Impossible. He's a great guy, good friend of ours. And he and I have talked about this for so long. People are born into this world and they have this example to follow, either by parents or church or whatever, and then they become grounded in that belief and not open to other things, and they won't even listen.
Right.
And I think that's people being scared, to be honest. I think that's a little bit of narcissism and ego, and then also fear.
A lot of fear. The more developed and advanced the person,
The more you listen.
the more you can be
And
open.
the more you don't get upset when someone has a different opinion. Because
Absolutely.
literally, when you go to school, when you get into a master's program or a doctorate, PhD, DO, EDD, any of those programs, MD programs, you argue, right? Because you're all learning.
Right.
So you are encouraged to argue, and you're also told your opinion is not right because you're supposed to be learning things.
Right.
And
It's
unfortunately,
true.
some of those programs aren't even healthy because the education's backwards, right?
Don't get me started.
No, I know. So I know that I have to mention that. I have to mention it. But some of it is healthy, and it's sad and unfortunate in today's world that we are about to kill each other because we don't have the same belief. I'm like, come on, they're just different beliefs.
I'll tell you a story. I remember when I was a young girl, and so I'm 65 years young.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And that is, I call that radiance. It comes from the inside out.
Yeah.
It comes
It does.
completely from the, and what you're doing, all the things, how you're eating, how you're feeding your soul, your mind,
Right.
your heart, your spirit, all of that. But I remember the TV was on, and my mom was sitting there, making dinner for us. And I remember they were showing the war in Ireland where they were fighting North and South. And I looked at it, I was quite young, and I was like, well, why? I mean, to my soul, I was looking at it going, why are they fighting? And I was really looking at it. And my mom said, oh, well, they're fighting, honey. And I said, well, why are they fighting? And she said, well, they're fighting over God. And I said, I'm like only a couple years old.
You're
I'm
like,
like,
why would they fight over
well,
God?
and God doesn't care.
Yeah.
Spirit doesn't care.
No, I remember
We're
my
not
dad though
fighting.
saying to me, Christina, there's more wars fought over religion
Than anything.
than anything. That's always impacted me. I was little watching the TV, same thing. And my father said, well, I don't know why, Christina. And then he said to me, that's why I don't go to church. And I said,
interesting.
well, that's sad because churches should be a place, I don't care what religion, right? It should be a place where everyone's welcome.
Right.
And you don't sit and judge people. Like I've never understood, and this is at a young age, I've never
Right.
understood the concept of not loving someone because of something. And I've also never understood the concept of judging someone that I don't know everything about. And if you
Right.
ask me why, I don't know why. I just don't understand that. So I wish our world could. I
You
wish
were always a deep soul. That's why you
Maybe.
knew.
Yeah,
I
I knew.
remember I was only a couple years old, and I would go to sleep at night. I've always been connected to spirit.
me too.
Always.
Yeah.
And I'm
But not
sure you can
everyone
relate.
is, though. And it doesn't make us better that we are.
No,
I say
no.
that to people a
Do
lot.
you know what happens?
Yeah.
I'll share the story, and then I'll share my
Yeah.
thought on that. I used to go to sleep at night. A couple years old, I could feel my body falling into the bed, and I
Yeah.
could feel my spirit rising up, and I would just go out into the universe, go out
Yeah.
into the abyss. I could go visit different places. I could do that, and I thought, well, everybody did that. So I was sharing with everybody in my family, and they're looking at me like.
Yeah, I
And
understand.
I realized, I knew you would understand
I
that.
do understand.
But you know what I
Because-
believe? I believe that we all come in with the connection, but people shut it off for different reasons. People are able to intuit different things, and they're able to know things before they happen, all of these things.
That's
but
true.
it gets scary. And so some people, I never shut that off, which I can imagine you probably didn't either, but a lot of people will shut that off because it's hard to fit into the third dimensional realm
Yeah.
and keep your fourth, fifth, and
Yeah.
upper dimensions
Yeah.
connection to spirit, because the two don't necessarily, they're starting to, but
Yeah.
I was born in 59. There was none of that was
No.
even around anywhere I was.
But I want to tell you, this is interesting because I went back to school multiple times in my life. And if you ask me, do I think learning from a college makes me better or smarter? No, I just was trying to learn one of my focuses was how do I detoxify the land, air, and water and people? How do I get rid of the toxins that are here, the heavy metals, because they're hurting our spirit. They're hurting us emotionally and mentally because they're our pineal glands. Like we're not. So this was always a path for me, right? That I'm trying to figure this out. So the last time I was at Harvard, we were in class and they started talking to us about the fact that, our cells talk, right? We can talk.
Completely.
And then they started talking about, like the CIA and FBI and how there are people that we thought had ESP or could know things. And the reality is there are people that have this ability and they think it's because of, this is how it was described to me, right? I'm just telling you how.
Okay, I'm curious.
That is because they are more open to the feelings that their cells have, because your cells actually talk to you, right? They have
Our cells
energy.
have intelligence.
Right,
and
they have
energy.
intelligence, and they don't shut it off,
Right.
which a lot of people don't open themselves and they don't listen to that belief, which I believe I do listen to my instincts. I do listen to this belief. I used to always have this feeling that my bed was shaking and I was like moving right in my bed, and I would tell my family, and of course they were like, no, that's not happening. I'm like, well, there's ghosts in here or there's something happening. And so that I didn't really know the answer, but here's what I do know, and I've always known. Something speaks to me where I know things before they happen, or I know a feeling of what's getting ready to happen.
Right.
And if you ask me if that's more or less the older I've gotten, I accept it more, but I've always had it. I've always had it.
Here's the thing. Actually, in my book, I say it comes intuition comes standard with every physical body.
I think so too, and people ignore it.
They just don't, or they don't know how to connect.
But in science, they think some people are more evolved than others. So I'm just telling you scientifically what I was taught. So they think some people. So for example, if you go in to be selected, okay, maybe you want to be in the CIA or the FBI, or you want to be what's called an auditor. Right. Do you know what that is?
Right.
It's when you can like tune in to what's going on.
Exactly.
You and I could probably be auditors, for example.
Yeah, it's a predisposition, and you do like there's clairaudience, clairsentience.
So some people have that more than others,
and it's
naturally.
more developed naturally. And you can
but maybe everyone has it, and they just get rid of it. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story. It's interesting. I met a friend, and he, very, very intuitive, could actually hear other people's thoughts, which a lot of us can do that. And it would spook a lot of people to hear that. But on this platform, I love that we can have this conversation.
No, it's true.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It was so challenging that he actually tuned it out. He made a point to do that. It's like a lot of people, if you're sensitive, especially, really want to talk about this. If you're a man in the world and you're in touch with your sensitivity, it's really difficult because men are supposed to be tough, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be this. And so a lot of times when men are in touch with their intuition, are in touch, you can use it, but they'll call it a gut. They don't understand it's coming from here. They don't understand it's coming from your inner wisdom. But a lot of times people it gets too scary, or it doesn't fit into their life in the third dimensional realm. It's like, I never drank alcohol, really never did any unhealthy things. But you go through grade school and then high school, then you start developing. People start drinking. Well, drinking knocks you out. It knocks you unconscious. You can't stay connected to the divine and conscious
when you're knocked out.
When you're knocked out. So then they have to make a choice. Do I stay
And sometimes
connected?
it's too hard to be connected.
And a lot of times people make that choice when they're really young kids. It's too sensitive. Like a lot of times you go to school, grade school, you're so sensitive. Why are you so sensitive? And they're like, I don't want to be that way anymore. Let me protect myself. Let me shut that off. Let me build up my walls. Let me build up my protection.
I don't know, though. I have to be honest with you. Like, I'll ask Clayton, for example, and people, did you guys not know that? Like, I'll walk into a room and I'll know something's going on. And I actually get a little, this is horrible to say about myself, but anyone that works for me or that's close to me or that we work together, they would say, yeah, this is true about her. I get very frustrated because I'm like, how does everyone else not know this? Like, to me, it's so obvious. And they're like, how would any of us know that? And then, Christina, how do you know? And then it's kind of a joke with all of us now. They're like, that's not fair that you knew. And I'm like, I think everyone kind of knew, and they're ignoring it. That's what I think.
Dude, you know what it is? This is interesting. You have an interest in it, and your interest in it led you to connect with it. If someone doesn't have it, like your interest led you into science, my interest led me into medicine. Your interest leads you there. If you're not interested and you're not going to pay attention to it, and if it feels dangerous, you're going to actually shut it down. So, but
let me answer that. So you think I developed? So I don't know.
I think you have it naturally. You inherently have it, like I have it. We have it very naturally, and then because you have it so inherently, because you're interested in it.
Then I focused on it more.
You focused on it. And it's like anything. The more you focus on it, the more you're going to expand and grow with it. But I think that, I'll tell you, because I teach intuition, I teach intuitive intelligence. If given the chance, some people have more of a proclivity for it, no doubt. But if Clayton, let's say, if he doesn't feel Clayton might say, let's look at this. Clayton might say, I had a gut feeling about something. He might say it something like that. He might not call it an intuition, but he might have a sense about something. Maybe not, but a lot of times people's will come differently. Does that make sense? Yeah,
I do think, though, there's an element to some people have it more naturally. I mean, I don't know the answer for that, why, but it's so, this is very interesting. It doesn't matter where we travel or what happens. It doesn't matter who I'm meeting with. and it's interesting because there's actually 3 other men. So there's my husband and 2 other men that I travel with predominantly.
Okay.
They don't really like me going places alone. I have been to
that.
war zones alone,
Yes.
but now they're like, no, we can't do that. You have to go with someone. So Clayton, it doesn't like to travel a ton.
Right.
So he does some trips with me, Ted, Patrick, but we will be in places and people will come up to us. Mark has seen it, and they will know me from a different element, and they will come up and talk to me about it. Some really famous people have done that, actually.
I love that, actually.
And they recognize me, and then they'll say to me, do you not know who we are? And I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. And sometimes but then people will come up to us and say, you have a gift. You were sent here to help people during a time like this. And these are normal people. Like I say normal because I don't know how else to, like, it's, and
not as in touch
but
with
they
it.
don't come up to Clayton and Ted and say that.
Right.
Or Patrick.
Well, you're more open. And well, here's the other thing. Remember, everything's energy.
Yeah.
You're radiating it. That same thing happens to me. I'm
'Cause they can feel it.
radiating it.
Yeah.
And anybody I'll give a talk, and I'll know there's going to be a handful of, I call them unicorns, highly intelligent,
Yeah.
highly intuitive, highly intelligent, highly sensitive, are what I call unicorns. They're really deeply connected to their intuition, and they'll gravitate to me right away. And then there's others like, what did you just do? Like, it doesn't resonate
yeah.
as much. So I'm curious if you've ever had this. I've had this experience. You go someplace and your soul has recognized it. Like your physical body's never been there
that
before.
does happen to
I
me.
had that to
Yeah.
me at 2 different places where I
Yeah.
knew I was in Rome, and I knew I was like
That you'd
there's a
been there
piazza.
before.
And not only that, we
Yeah.
were walking down the street. And there's a piazza around the corner. I'd never been to Rome in this lifetime.
Yeah.
I turned around the corner. I was like, there it is.
It happens,
just-
and I actually bring it up. I'm like, I think there's this. What did I do the other day? I was with, I think Clayton and Ted. I said, I think there's a church around the corner. I think we were in India, and they were like, have you been there? I said, there's a temple, and I said, no, but and then it was there, and they were like, how did you know that? I go, I don't know. Maybe I saw it on some kind of show or something.
Oh, no, I trust me.
Yeah.
And your soul in another lifetime has been there.
Yeah. Like if you ask my
definitely.
husband how long we've known each other, he'll say 9 lifetimes.
He says
Yeah.
that.
And if you ask him why, he says there's 2 things that have happened in his life since the time he's been here. So when I first talked to Clayton, and this didn't happen to me, so I'm very honest. Like if something doesn't happen,
Right.
I'm not going to make up that it
Right.
does. We were on the phone. John Sally introduced us.
Okay.
John
Sally introduced the 2 of you guys?
Yes. I was working on a project with the NFL and the NBA for an alumni association, and I was getting ready to go to Germany because the embassy wanted me to work on a science project. And so I was in New York, and I was meeting with John, and he goes, stop the meeting. He goes, I'm just going to say this. You're the Michael Jordan of healthcare, and you don't know it yet.
Oh, I love
Yeah, he did, and I could tell these men at the table were not happy with John because they were there to do. They wanted to talk, like, why is he talking to this girl? That like,
This girl.
and I, or a scientist, why is he saying this? And I said, well, I don't know about that. He goes, well, I do, and he said, I need to connect you with these guys that I know that are working on this science project. And I said, I don't have time for that. I'm running healthcare companies. I'm a CEO. I wasn't bragging about it either. I actually hated what I was doing.
Right.
I was miserable, thinking, please let me out of this. I hate this.
Well,
I was
it's interesting. The universe listens.
It does. I was wearing suits every day. I was having to look perfect in a man's world, and I was like, this is miserable for me.
And your soul wasn't very happy.
I was not
You
happy.
were creative.
I
You weren't
wasn't
being-
creating. And so I said, there's no way. And so John goes, I've got to get you on the phones with these guys. I just have this gut feeling. You're supposed to talk to them. And he kept calling, and I was so busy. The company wasn't doing well. I was having a board meeting. I answered it because I was so tired of John calling me. And he goes, I'm just going to tell you this. You're the only person that will not pick up my phone call. This is 2015, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so almost 10 years
And then
ago.
I was like, I'm so sorry, John. I, was doing all this stuff. He goes, listen, I've really got to put you on the phone. And I said, I told you I don't have time to talk to them. He goes, well, they're on the phone. I was like, what? He goes, they're already on. And I was like not happy. Like I remember.
Right. He cornered you.
So I said, you guys, I have 5 minutes. That's what I
Right.
said. And I remember being mad at myself for the way I was acting, like
Right.
thinking, and he goes, okay. And then Clayton got on, started talking, asked me a couple of questions. I answered it. And then Clayton said, I'm going to tell you something I've only told 3 women, my ex-wife, my mother, and my sister, but I love you. That's what he said. And I was like, what?
I
He
get
goes,
goosebumps.
I go, wait a minute. How do you even know me? He goes, I have no idea why I know, but I do. And he said, I've never felt like this before. And he said, I felt God tap me on the shoulder, and I'm supposed to work with you. And I said, the only way I could ever do this project is if someone moved in 2 weeks and took over as a CEO of this healthcare company, and I don't have money right now to pay someone. I need to do it. And he moved in 2 weeks. That's true. That was 2015. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I was really curious because I was watching you guys in your stories. And
Yeah.
when I see couples that are like really connected, like couples, like really their energy is connected, I see it as an infinity sign. Like
Yeah.
that. And that's how I saw you guys. It's like this. It's an infinity sign between the two of you.
Yeah, I was like, I was going through a really bad divorce, and it was really hurting me. I didn't actually want the divorce. It was an abusive situation though, so it was really a long process to get me out of it. And then Clay moved, and we were friends. We dated different people. It didn't work. Basically, there was no way to pull us apart, though. I don't even know how to explain it. It was like...
Oh, I know that very well. This gentleman sitting right over here is the love of my life. And
it didn't matter. There's no... Yeah, so there's it wouldn't matter...
It just feels so good to be with them. Like
that you couldn't live without it. Yeah, it was...
the intimacy. I call it body. It's a body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit.
Yeah, it's different than just a...
It's different, and it's like your souls recognize each other.
It's almost like you feel something wrong when you're not with that person. I didn't admit that to Clayton at the time, but inside I was like, this is the person for me from I kept thinking a friendship perspective, a business partner perspective, because I really thought, I'm never going to get remarried. It's just too hard for me.
But when you healed that heartbreak,
but it was impossible not to be with him. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting. He recognized this, and we've talked about this. I didn't recognize that we would be together forever at first.
How about this? Maybe it's not that you didn't recognize it, but the pain from the divorce had you energetically...
I think so. It was hurting me so bad.
I mean, how could you possibly let something in when something's so painful?
But it was impossible to keep him out. Do you know what I mean? So
amazing.
I have to say that. The universe worked towards that. But it was very interesting at the time. We knew some people that were intuitives, and they basically said what you just said, that we were, our paths had crossed so many times, and that we would end up together. And of course I was like, I don't think we are going to end up together. They were like, you are. And now, our lives have worked so well because I think it was predestined. It's kind of like you saying you went to Rome, or like I was in India and you knew something.
Knew it.
It's just you knew.
Yeah, I just knew it.
So it's the intuition that I think, and I think even for intuitives like us, we still have emotional pain, like you just said, and we still go through things where we don't see everything.
Where the healing comes in. I mean, I heal every day. I heal other people, but I do clearance on myself. I believe that we're all energy. And when we clear energy that doesn't belong to us, and most of it is sitting unconsciously in us, it's wounds from the past, it's wounds from past lives, these lifetimes. When you go in there, which is what I do, I go in, I'm able to see, I connect with the person's soul. Yeah. Only with their permission, connected with their soul. They show me where the points are. I see them clairvoyantly, and I'm able to move it, and we move it in real time. So it's not like you're not in the analyzer in therapy. Yeah. This is all done in intuitive space. Clear it out of the way, so when you clear out what doesn't belong to you, then what happens is that first of all, you source so much more energy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People have so much more energy when we clear out what's bothering us. Because the thing about energy is, like, a lot of times it'll sit in our space and it'll come up as a trigger, like as a pain point, something that happened to us when we were younger. Then we create these coping mechanisms to help to deal with it. But what happens is that really derails people's lives in a lot of ways. Why can't I have a relationship? Why can't I make the money I want to make? Why can't I create the life that I want to create? Because these pain points are sitting in there, and when you go in and you clear them, all of a sudden they have more energy. All of a sudden they're looking 20 years younger. All of a sudden they're able to create the relationship because they're able to source their own energy, which is sitting right there when we clear out what doesn't belong to us.
That's such a gift you have. You've helped so many people, I know.
And I love doing it.
Well, I'm sure you were sent here to do it. I feel like I do it as a, like, if you ask me what I really think I am, I'm not like God, right? But I feel like I was sent to heal. and to help.
Completely, you're a healer. And
Yeah.
all the products that you make and all
Yeah.
the things that you do. It's like for me, when I speak on stage, I love it because you're getting to a large
You are. You can
group of
touch
people,
them.
which I
Yeah.
really love to
I
do.
love it too. Like people
love-
ask me, I will tell you there's two things. I'd love to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
I've never ever gotten nervous on stage, whether it's 10,000 people
Right. Me
or
neither.
1,000 ever. I feel like and if you ask me, do I need the attention or want it? No,
not
I don't have any of that. I will
Which is why
say,
you don't get nervous.
I don't get nervous.
Because you're-
I will say one-on-one when I do like these talks, and then afterwards I'm either doing a book signing or I'm shaking people's hands or talking to them. Some people and their energy will not be something I want to be around. Like I can feel it, and I can actually, you may understand this, I can smell it. Like I have this thing about smelling things when it's bad.
Interesting.
And it's not like they smell bad. There's something I smell inside.
Yes.
I can tell you, Clayton would tell you this, even before someone dies, I can smell stuff. Like our dog got really sick and we were going over to Europe, and I said to Clayton, Tilly's sick, something's wrong, I can smell it. I can always smell it. And he, of course, didn't want the dog, didn't want Tilly to be sick. And he was like, no, Christina, you just are upset you're leaving. And I go, no. And then I actually saw her picture a couple of days before she died. And I said, I think something bad's getting ready to happen to Tilly. And he goes, no, Christina, you're just worried. And then I'm like, no, I don't just worry. Like I just knew. And if you ask how I could have predicted that, I don't know. I mean, I can sense it. I can smell it. It's so when I'm in line, for example, to meet people that are coming to I'm signing a book or holding them, when it's bad energy, I can feel it. And I hate to say bad energy, but there's something that really makes me not want to.
I call it low consciousness. It's a lack of awareness and a lack of
So why does it bother me so much?
Because you're feeling it. You're into it, so you're feeling that energy. There'll be a time when someone will come around me. I can feel the energy. So can I share with you something that'll really help you?
Yes.
Especially it's what I do and what will really help. Is you're going to close your eyes before you go and do like a book signing or whatever it is. On stage, you're separate. You can still feel energy on stage.
But it's not as close.
No.
Yeah.
This close, you really feel
You
it.
can't. Or when they hug you, you can feel it.
Because what they're doing, energy is real. So they're literally throwing. It's like when you fly too. With my clients, what I do, I have a lot of different clients I work with, and some of them fly a lot. I clear energy out of their space.
That's my only fear in life is flying. And do you know I have 5 million points with Delta? I'm a 360 member. I mean, I'm literally like a huge anxiety. I'm like, I don't know why. And so I try to envision like I'm flying on the plane. Like I've tried everything. So if you can ever clear that, clear it for me.
I promise you, we will do that.
Okay,
we'll
good.
Definitely do that. But
So you work with these people. So this is what you do. Tell me again.
One of the things that I do. So for you. So what I do is I have clients that I work with. I work in groups. I have online programs. It's one of the places where I have several things I do in business. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm like you online, and then I work with people. And so what I do is someone will come to me for various reasons. Like a fear of flying, they want to manifest something. So what I do is I'm able, with their permission, to go in energetically, and I see clairvoyantly what's going on, and in real time clear whatever the blocks are. For you, with flying, we would look, what is the block there? And
what
then
is
go
it?
ahead
Yeah.
And clear what that is. So
what's your advice to me in front of a crowd when I get close to people?
So first of all, the first thing I would have you do is beforehand. You can pick up the phone. You can call me and say, "Okay, Elizabeth, I got to do this." I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, and you're going to put on, our aura extends 1.5 to 2 feet in front of us. So you have your aura all around you. So what you're going to do is you're going to, first of all, see your aura with your eyes closed. So what you're going to do, close your eyes, ground and center yourself. Feet, now of course we like to have our legs crossed. Feet flat on the ground, and what you're going to do, arms and legs uncrossed, and all you're going to do is, maybe I can do it right now, close your eyes. Now, the energy is amazing in here, so we don't have to worry about the energy, but this is what you're going to do beforehand. You're going to close your eyes, and you're just going to connect, and you're really going to put your energy in the center of your head, which is actually your pituitary gland, as you well know. So just see yourself sitting there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to see your aura 1.5 to 2 feet all the way around you, above your head 1.5 to 2 feet, below your feet 1.5 to 2 feet, and then all the way around you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see a bubble of light and protection all the way around you. Can you see that?
Yes.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Of course you can. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a beautiful electric blue rim around that for extra protection.
I already had done that.
Isn't that amazing?
No one taught me that. I just always do it.
I know,
Yeah.
because it's
Okay.
very rare. There's only a handful of people in the whole world who do
Yeah.
the work that I do and I was trained to do.
I don't know why I do it. I've always done it.
It's
Yeah.
perfect that you did
Okay.
that. Then what you're going to do, if you're really in a space where you need protection, I want you to know the disco balls where they have the mirrors that face out in
Yeah.
a circle like that. You're going to see yourself. If you're sitting like this, you're in an egg-shaped bubble, correct? Your bubble
Right,
light of
correct.
protection would be in an egg-shaped bubble. On the outside of that, you're going to put mirrors all the way around facing outside.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, because a lot of times, most of the times, it's unconscious people. Think about it. What do unconscious people do? They complain, they overeat,
Yeah.
they overdrink, they're unconscious in their work, they're unconscious in their
Yeah.
marriages, they're unconscious
They're
in
always
their
complaining and stuff.
complaining. Everything is heavy, and that's what you're feeling.
I can feel the heaviness.
The heavy
Yeah.
energy. So this protects it, but so that's most people, just unconscious, not malicious, not trying. But sometimes, especially on social media, you have a very large platform. I have a lovely platform as well. So you're going to get haters. You can't imagine how many people do not like Dr. Elizabeth at 65 years young, running around in a bikini and telling people you can have more energy at 65 than 25.
Well, I know how many people don't like me, so I can imagine.
So those are even, that's the next step further. So now you have this protection around you. They're actually energetically throwing energy at you, unconsciously, out of jealousy, out of spite, out of fear. Most of it, everything's either love or the absence of love, which is fear, correct?
Fear, yeah.
Everything's either love or fear in the scale of emotional intelligence. Everything. So they're in some kind of fear. It's going to appear like jealousy. It's going to appear like hatred. It's going to appear like those things. But they're going to throw that energy in your space. So what happens, and that's what you feel. You're like,
Yeah.
why do I feel
Yeah.
so terrible? So what the mirrors do is it goes in, but it can't penetrate. It bounces off the mirrors and just send it back. So it doesn't even get you. So I promise you, and you can call
Okay.
me on the phone next time
Okay.
you have a book signing.
I'm going to
Call
get your
me,
number. I am,
and,
really.
And
Yeah.
we're going to do that, and I'll do that for you, and you're going to feel like $1 million. You're going to go there, and you're going to be like, oh, that feels amazing. I do that. If I'm flying, if I'm going in spaces, or if I'm having to go into a situation where I know it's going to be difficult. You can also clear energy. I teach people how to clear energy. I also teach people, I did a blessing. George, my sweetheart, will tell you this. They said, oh, we're running 30 minutes late. So we sat in the car for a minute, and I did a meditation. And what I did was I went from my higher self to your higher self. And I said, Christina, hi, I love you. I'm so excited to meet you. And I can't wait. And I put a blessing on what we were going to do. You
That's
can do
amazing.
that in business. You can do that in your meetings. You can do that before your podcast. You do. And so what happens is you begin to set the tone of energetically how you want things to be.
Yeah.
We're the senior spirits in our space. So we're the ones who are in charge. Most people don't understand that. Most people don't. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like people, if, they look at somebody at a certain age, you know how the insurance companies, at a certain age, you're supposed to have this disease, this is supposed to happen. I don't believe in any of that.
I don't believe in any of
I
that either.
literally say 65 years young. People go, oh, isn't that cute, that lady is saying. I do that very intentionally,
Yeah.
because when my body hears 65 years young, my body then goes to the gym with my sweetheart George, and he's like, do this, and we're doing these exercises. My body knows infinite possibilities for what it can do. If I'm young, if I'm 65 years young, I have more youthfulness than someone 25 years of
Absolutely.
age. I've been banking youthfulness. I've
Yeah.
been banking radiance.
Yeah.
And so when you think about it that way, it shifts everything. But most people are living their lives very unconsciously. So they don't think in terms of, how can I be the most extraordinary version of myself?
Yeah.
How can I wake up? How can I have a 7-day reset program, which I love because I'm teaching people how to just redirect. Like if you just wake up in the morning, first of all, go to sleep early. I have a phrase I coined called juicy sleep. Go to sleep early. Get your 8 hours of juicy sleep or whatever amount of juicy sleep, which rejuvenates all your beautiful hormones. You wake up, you feel radiant. Nourish your body with beautiful foods. Take 5 minutes or 2 minutes to do a gratitude, and then do a meditation. If you step out of bed, like completely filled with that compared to the person that's like stayed up late watching something unconscious on TV, fought with the boyfriend or fought with the girlfriend. When now they went to sleep, they wake up, they hit the snooze, they feel miserable, they get out of bed, they stub their toe, everything's cranky. They've completely redirected their life this way as opposed to actively creating the life that you want to do. And it's simple. I always say small changes equal miraculous results.
Yeah.
And you shift one thing, and I know you know this.
No, I do know that.
You shift one thing in the
changes.
direction you want to go, it changes everything for the better.
And you know what? If you listen and you care, like when you told me about the mirrors, I definitely will do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hear you and I see how sincere you are, and I will absolutely do it. And if you ask me, do I know that's going to make a change? 100%. Yeah. And if you say, why haven't I thought about that? I don't know. I've always done the light blue light
which
around
is
me.
Good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I believe in that protection. And I believe in positive thinking. And I also believe in being able to, I know we can't control every aspect of our life, but that was one of the reasons, like, the pandemic didn't bother me.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it didn't.
Right.
I mean, for me,
Same
part
thing.
of it was I was a
Same thing.
scientist, but the other part was I was, just like Clayton was sure we were going to be together, I was sure that we would be okay.
Yes. I was the same way.
Yeah.
In fact, I went live on Instagram every single day from March 30th all through, every single day, because people were so scared. I was like, I'm here. There's nothing to be scared about. I was like a grounding rod for people.
Did you grow during that time?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Like crazy. My business, everything grew because I wasn't looking at it like I was looking at this completely with different eyes.
I think
Very
ours grew,
different
too,
eyes.
because of that. Like, people ask, it's a wrong time to start a business in 80 countries, is what most people would think. But my husband is so positive, he knew he was going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had the faith that he could and that he would. And then I jumped along with him. Yeah.
That's everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the two of you guys together, I always say 1 + 1. In the mathematics of humanity, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals infinity. So the two of you together is as phenomenal as each one of you are individually, the two of you together are exponentially better.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, it's true.
Well, I mean, one time I said to Clay, I hope we can make it through this. And he goes, there's no option not to make it. So I've always felt a little bit strange, to be honest. The word people have always used for me is special. And I used to tell my parents, I don't like that word.
No,
Why
I don't
are you using that
either.
word?
Can I tell you what I got too? Too much. I always got, George and I were talking about it. Too much. It's like, stop saying I'm too much. You're just too much. It's like, no, we're not too much.
No.
And especially in a scientific world. In the scientific world, everything is very black and white. But it's beautiful that you get to be married to this wonderful man who you guys get to play in that field.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about my sweetheart George so much. It's like, he's so that. And just, I mean, look at how wonderful he is. He's here. He drove me. He's like,
He
baby,
walked
I'm
in, and
coming.
I swear I thought he was John Sally's friend because he looks like a professional athlete.
And, right? Like,
Yeah.
I tell you, as gorgeous as he is on the outside, he's more gorgeous on the inside.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy. And like, he just,
Yeah,
like,
when
that's
he walked in, I
love,
thought
right?
he must be really famous. That's what I really thought. You
He
know,
really
I mean,
is.
he really is.
He
Yeah.
really is, and
Yeah.
amazing, actually.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Amazing,
because it's
right?
his energy.
Well,
yeah.
I want to share this with your audience. I was asked George, because George is, unlike me, you know, we're very public. He's very, very private, and I respect that. I waited 65 years. Well, we were 64. 2 days before my 65th birthday, we met. And I'd love to share the story.
I want to hear this story. No, I want to hear it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what I told him is, I said, I waited 64, almost 65 years for you, and it was worth that wait for something. Because I have an extraordinary life. I love my life. I was already happy in my life, but I was deeply longing for partnership, real partnership.
I was
with
too. I get
someone
that.
Amazing.
I get that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Like real partnership.
Real.
Yeah.
Not just, but real. Like you guys have real partnership.
Yeah,
we
do.
have real partnership. We haven't been apart one day since we met.
Yeah.
Not one day.
It's hard when you love someone that much to be apart from them.
I'm not looking forward to it. He has to go on a trip on Thursday. And I told him, if your bags are extra heavy.
You're in them. You snuck in them. You're hiding.
Why is this so heavy?
I love that you guys met and fell in love like that. Did you know right away?
I knew right away. And he knew. Well, so I'm gonna. Baby, is it okay if I share the story? You sure? Okay, because he is really proud.
I love this story. This is
It is
why I'm here
amazing.
today to hear this story. I have to hear a story. And he's going to wrap us up, but I have to hear this.
Oh,
You want to hear it too?
Yeah,
Seriously?
just give me a warning, just
Oh, really? We have to wrap? We haven't even started.
no, we're just getting warmed
We'll
up.
do
Oh
it
my
again. We'll
God,
have you
you
fly to
promise?
Nashville. Yeah, I
Okay.
promise. I promise.
For sure.
I
Because we have
promise.
lots more to talk
We're
about.
here like every 6 to 8 weeks, and then we'll fly you guys to Nashville. That would be great. Yeah.
I would love that.
If I would have met you, I would have already invited you there.
No,
So,
and
no.
I knew we were going.
Yeah.
Mark knew. Mark was like,
He
you
told
guys
me.
have to connect. Yeah. And Clayton, I remember when we first had
Yeah.
our Zoom call.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna share. So I had just moved in. I just moved. In fact, it's a long story, but I'm gonna share off camera. I'm
here's
gonna
the reverse,
share
sorry.
why I moved off camera because it's very
Okay.
interesting. I can't share publicly yet, but I'm gonna share with you.
Okay.
Moved from this place I was in and moved in. My sister has a gorgeous condo in Marina City Club, beautiful. Had just moved in. Spirit says, and Spirit's been talking to me my whole life. That's
Yeah.
how I hear it a lot.
Yeah.
Go down to the gym. I work out in the morning or afternoon. I never go to the gym in the evening. It's 8 o'clock at night. I just flown back from a business trip to
Yeah.
Phoenix. But I listen when Spirit tells me
Yeah.
something.
You have to do it.
Okay, and I go down and I'm walking. I go to the gym. So I really hadn't seen the gym yet. I'm walking through the gym. I feel this presence in the back of the gym. I did not see him yet. I felt it.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was recording for my girlfriend. And she said, what does the gym look like? We had the moment our souls connected on camera. We have it on camera. Is that amazing?
So the minute you saw him, was it before you saw him?
Before I saw him, I felt him, and he felt me. I walk to the edge of the gym, turn around, and I feel this presence, and I just was like drawn, and I didn't want to disrupt his workout. And I was just walking to the rest of the gym. I was going to go, and so I just said, "Have a good workout." And he turns, he looks at me, he says, "Bye bye," and then I left, and then literally. I kept going to the gym, of course. I kept going to the gym at that same time, but that wasn't his regular time either. A couple days later, we connect again. We start talking. We connect again. Can I tell him about the hug? So then we start talking a little bit, and then he says to me, he's very proper, very classy,
Yeah.
very elegant, as you guys can see.
I can see, yeah.
And very, very reserved.
Yeah.
But he said he's never done this before with anybody in his life. He said, "Can I give you a hug?" We had just started talking. He gave me a hug, and it was like I just melted into this hug. I was just like, and so of course I feel energy, so I'm
Yeah.
totally feeling
Oh,
the
yeah.
connection. And then he backs away and he goes, "Did you feel that energy?" And I look, and he's like 6'5", and I look up at him. I'm a little peanut like you. And I look up and I said, "I did." He goes, "Can I hug you again?" And then he gave me another hug.
He's
And
like, "Can I hug you and never let you go?" That's what he's thinking. How awesome is
Isn't that
that?
amazing? And
Yeah.
so then from that moment on, we were just saying hi in the gym. And I'm a feminine essence woman. I don't make the first move. I
No,
don't
yeah.
ask out. And so we start talking more and more. He got my phone number. And it was really cute because I asked him, I said, "Are you single?" And he looks at me. He's very strong and straightforward. And he goes, "Why are you interested?"
That's awesome. I love that.
Don't you? He's a New Yorker. He's like straight to, like, I love that. And I'm not shy at all.
Yeah,
I'm an
that-
extrovert. I blushed and I said, I looked up at him and I said, "I am." And he grabbed his phone, he got my phone number and then asked me out. And and our first date was magical. Our first date took me to dinner. We went to a movie and I had taken a little doggy bag home from the food. I was too excited. I couldn't eat.
Clayton, I'm still hearing this. Okay, because they're making us wrap it up over there. Okay.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
And so I forgot the food. So he drops me off at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I text him saying I had a wonderful time. He calls like 5 minutes later. He said, "You forgot the food. Should I bring it up to you, or can I bring it tomorrow?" And Spirit said, "Bring it up tonight." So he comes to the door. I open up the door, and we weren't going to do anything.
Right.
I'm like old-fashioned that way. But we sat on my bed till dawn and talked. He held me in his arms, and we sat there and looked. I have this beautiful picture windows that overlook the whole marina. It's like a high-rise. And we've been inseparable ever since. It was the most magical first date of
I
my life.
love that. I love that.
So amazing.
I love that story. I understand it too because I know that I understand it because with Clay, it's hard. It's hard to not be with him. Yeah.
It's hard to not be
Yeah,
with them.
it's hard.
Yeah.
And the energy that you exchange. And I have to tell you, my parents have been together since they were 14 and 15. Or 13 and
I got
14,
goosebumps.
something like that. It was my mom was, I think, in 8th grade and went over to Hawaii as a debutante. Yeah, and my dad father was a superintendent of schools that moved into town. And they still tell the story where my mom walked in, and she had been Hawaii, so she has broad shoulders, dark hair. And he said he thought, that is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And his heart went, and my dad's a really macho, man from the South. His heart, he felt this. And my mom said she turned around and she had butterflies in her stomach. And they both still say they still feel that way when they walk in. And they are 82 and 83 years old.
Well,
I always wanted that. Like, that was the one thing I'm like, why hasn't that happened to me? I love people, but why haven't I had that? And then I met Clay. Yeah.
That's what I was feeling. I've interviewed thousands of couples because I was always interested in having like this kind of love.
Yeah, because it's so amazing.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
I feel bad, though, because I don't think everyone maybe is meant to have it. I don't know. Some people never have it.
They might, you know what it is? They might be, because listen, you have to go through, it's a journey when you love someone.
It is.
You have to let go of your stuff. You have to let go of the fears.
It is.
So most people, they might want it. I think everybody wants that connection, but the fear gets in the way and they're not going to do the healing journey.
But to your point, you were 65, and here's what I'm going to say.
That's what I want
you
people to
don't
know.
know when it will happen. Like, my parents are lucky they were 13 and 14, or, I think 14, whichever it was, 14, 15, 13, 14. And it took me a long time, but that's okay.
I always say never give up.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie When Harry Met Sally?
Oh, yeah, I love that.
And I remember that classic.
Now I'm going to go watch it again because it's such a great movie.
And it's that classic scene, not the deli scene, not that one, but the other scene where they said a woman over 40, she's more likely to get struck by lightning than to get married after the age of 40. Yeah. And these young girls, like I have young girls writing to me on Instagram saying, Dr. Elizabeth, they're telling me I'm expired at 22.
It's ridiculous.
I'm like, what are you talking about? No. I'm 65. I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Don't listen to that.
No.
So I wanted to tell that story because I love
that story. It's a real story. And people need to hear it.
And you can find love at any age. Yeah. And he's worth the wait. He's extraordinary. And the love, it's better to wait for real love than to settle.
I mean, this couple walked in and I was like, who's the famous guy that's with John Sally? Who's the famous guy? And then she sure is beautiful. That's what I thought when you both walked in.
Oh,
yeah.
You're so sweet. I thought the same thing. I said, she sure
Well,
beautiful.
your energy is just beautiful inside and out. But you're right. And I have to say, your eyes and the way you touch people, you can feel it. Yeah. So I'm so glad Mark and I put this together.
I know that.
Yeah. And honestly, I need your help from somebody's going to help me with flying, because to fly as much as I fly, I mean, like 300 days last year internationally, it's a lot. And
long flights.
We're trying to change that a little bit. We're focusing more on the United States. Not that we love all these countries, and I believe in a global world. I mean, I believe that people are people everywhere.
And the more we expand.
But I also believe in the fact that I have a need and a mission here in the United States as well that I can't let go of. There's a reason I was born here. There's also a reason I travel. But I'm excited about working with you because I would love to have help with the flying.
Oh, I would love
And with
that.
everything else in my life. I just need help.
Well, you know what's interesting? Our brands are very, very simpatico. And I would love for us.
Well, that's what Mark said when he sent it. He was like, she talks like you talk about spiritually and connecting with everyone. And it's great to talk to you because not everyone can have the conversations with me.
Well, I would love for both of us to impact the world in beautiful ways together.
I would love that too. I really would.
Love that.
This is like the first of many.
This is the first of many.
My husband's going to try to hijack all of our conversation.
Not true, but I have insight.
Yeah, he does have insight. And it was really great. Did you guys get married, by the way? Or no, not yet? Yeah.
No.
I'm invited to the wedding.
You guys are for sure invited to the wedding, okay?
No, I'm teasing. I'm not making myself at your wedding unless you ask me to.
Can I tell you? On camera, it's official. You guys are invited.
It's a beautiful story.
I give great speeches.
Okay.
Do you want him giving the speech after you heard what he said? Really? No. You're like, maybe not. Like his sister, he was the one person he wasn't allowed to speak at the wedding.
So, really?
You don't know what he's going to say.
Horrified over what I might say.
Yeah. Because you know it's not going to be in the program.
You guys have a lot of fun, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
If you're not having fun,
Don't do it.
Shouldn't be doing in every
No.
Thank you.
aspect of life.
No, you know what? I have something I created called the JLF factor. I created it and I use it with my clients. It's real. It's the joy factor, the love factor, and the fun factor. It's so important, and people miss out on that. They don't incorporate that into their lives. And that's why they're kind of asleep inside. They're kind of asleep
We're
at
going to
the
do a
wheel.
talk for Root. We've got 300,000 people that like buy product from us monthly. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to
Yeah,
come
yeah.
and do a
you
talk.
do.
I would.
I'll send you
love.
just so you know, that's what, so I believe and I know that we're connected to even a leaf on a tree, like our
Yeah.
DNA. So our food supply is so important. And even with what I do, one of the things I do is I clean the negative energy. You'll understand this out of plants and seeds and oil. And people are like, why are your products different? I do have the patents on getting rid of lectin and detoxification, but I'm really just cleaning it. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I'm like, energetically, our world has been exposed and our bodies to toxins, like unhealthy energy, right?
Completely.
So you have to clear it. And you will understand that. So we would do great talking about it. Because a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. As a scientist, you went to school to. I go, yeah, and I use magnets and polarization and
Exactly.
heating and cooling and all kinds of energy. I sing when I'm making the products. And they're like,
That's everything. Oh my gosh.
I know, and they're like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Cause the sound energy," but they don't understand.
Well, it's
now,
like Dr. Emoto's work.
Yeah.
He really scientifically
I know.
also showed that
He
was
proved
real.
it.
He proved it.
He proved
Which
it.
was amazing.
and everyone doesn't want to hear it. I'm like, "It's proven. It's
It's
not a
proof.
theory. It's
No.
like black hole and string theory.
Right.
They're
But
real. They're
s-
not just a theory
because
anymore."
it threatens. It's kind
Yeah.
of, it's interesting because the work I do, Joe Dispenza actually spends time proving it scientifically. I don't need proof. I've always been the kind of
That's
person.
what I say too.
If I know it, I know it. I don't need proof.
No.
But I'm glad he does it because I'm like, if you want proof, go over there because he's really proving
Right,
it scientifically. But I already know.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm
already
the same
know
way.
it.
It's really hard for me. Like they're like, "Well, I sent this to the lab, and we did." And I do third party testing. We do all the certification. But if I'm honest, I don't need that because I understand what
Right.
we're doing, and I understand it's not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It's that whole world.
Energetically.
And I understand that
Yeah.
it's energy, right?
is.
So I can say to someone, I'm a quantum physicist, I'm a bioscience engineer, nanotechnologist. They'll accept that. But when I say I'm an energy healer, they're like, "What?"
I know.
I'm like, "It's
It
the same
freaks
thing,
people
but
out.
okay, if you want me to change the words, I will."
It
Yeah.
freaks people out. And you are a living testament to how you live because you are gorgeous and your skin is flawless and perfect.
Thank
You look
you.
amazing.
Well, I'm going to say, your skin's beautiful. You look perfect. I'm going to send you the products. I am. Have you tried the products yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
Mark
we'll
sent
send them
me
all of
root,
them.
But I would
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
I was looking at your
The-
skin.
We have a
Oh,
peptide formula that I made, the 3-stepped, because your peptides basically will help your
Love.
skin regenerate.
I
And then
love
I have
that.
a phytoplankton that I get from Korea. We've sold out 3 times,
I
but we
love
have it
that.
back.
Oh,
That's what
I
our
love
biggest
that.
issue is, selling out of products.
Which is amazing.
I know it
If
is,
that's
but
the
it hurt-
problem.
It is, but it's hurt us because at first it was amazing, and then it's like when you keep selling out. So now we're really doubling down on what we're producing because
frustrates people otherwise, 'cause
It
they're
frustrates them,
trying-
and then
yeah.
they're like, "Well, you guys keep selling out," and we're like, "I know it's hard when you have 80 countries.
It's amazing. though.
Yeah.
I just admire. I love how you go for it. I just love your spirit.
I
your
can tell you, I get
entrepreneurial spirit.
criticized for going. Like someone, we were in a meeting yesterday, and the guy was like, "Are you sure you want to do manufacturing?" I go, "Well, we have to do the supply." "Oh, well, that's a lot of work." He kept like talking me out of it, and finally I was like, "Wait a minute, why are you talking me out of doing something that I know I'm supposed to do?"
So that's the thing. You know, don't you? In
Yeah.
the deepest core of your being, you know.
I know.
There's no question.
No,
about
there's no
it.
question.
You just know.
Yeah.
And that's where you make the decisions from a place of inner knowing.
Yeah.
Oh, next time we have to talk more about intuitive intelligence
Yeah.
in people. Yeah, teaching them how to, because it's knowing.
Well, I'm
going
going to contact you anyway and do a session on the
I would
healing,
love
especially with
to hear
planes. And I also think with what I'm exposed to constantly, because when we grew this, we started being asked by presidents and prime ministers and
Right.
sheikhs and kings and everything to meet with them, right? And so again, I'm around a lot of different energy and a lot of different power.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I pray a lot before I go in, and I do send, the around me. I think
We'll
of it.
prepare you for
yeah.
that. We will definitely. I can
Yeah.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will definitely prepare
But
you
it's
for that.
it's interesting. The higher people have, the more I'm going to just say this: the more success people have, deep down, a lot of them do have an intuition. I don't know if you realize that.
Yes.
Like they know the power of their prayers or their
Yes.
thoughts.
Completely.
They don't want to share that with everyone, but when you talk to them personally, they
They
do.
know it.
They know it.
It's real. I have a course called Your Superpower. It is your
It's your superpower, and the people that
superpower.
accept that excel.
Completely.
And you
Listen,
hope that they excel in the right way, right? You do. But the truth is, whether it's good or bad energy, that thought process and that spiritual focus it controls everything.
It's powerful. We
Yeah.
manifest. We're
I
the
know.
senior spirits in our being, and we are in charge of
Yeah.
our thoughts are everything. I always say, you're right here with your thought. You're either going to take it where you want to go,
Yeah.
and then stop taking it where you don't want to go. Don't let
Yeah.
the fear of what you don't want, even, like, I don't let it in. People are like, why are you not watching that? Why don't you? I don't turn that on.
I
don't watch
told
it.
Clayton I won't watch a scary movie. Like, people are like,
oh my God.
no. They're like, why aren't you going to watch this? I'm like, why would I watch that?
No. Can I tell you, I can't watch anything violent either.
Me either.
Can't watch. He wants to watch. He's like, baby, let's
I
watch.
swear it's true.
I
Well,
Just violence.
Clayton knows I won't watch anything violent. I
can't-
won't watch anything scary. I'm
I
like,
can't
why would I
either.
do that?
Why would I do that?
No.
Because it affects our energy.
Yeah.
He's like, baby, I remember we had to stop watching.
It's like training, though. Sometimes you need to have just
No,
a little-
we really
Well, Clay, you
don't.
know I won't even watch it. Like, I'm like, turn that off.
This
You
is
know
a-
I won't watch
you are
it.
a girl after my own heart.
I know I won't watch it.
I won't watch it either. I
And my
can't
kids are like,
scare-
Mom, you can watch a little bit. I'm like, why
no.
would I?
Why would even a little bit? I have this philosophy. If you're right here, especially at 65, if I'm right here, I am not going to go one direction in the direction I don't want to go.
No.
I'm only lining up everything of what I want to do, everything healthy. There's no reason to go 1
No.
millimeter in that direction.
No.
At any age, but certainly not at 65. I'm only going this way.
Yeah, I've never watched stuff like that, though.
Me either. Ever.
Everyone, all my
Violence,
friends
I
are always trying to talk
can't.
me into it. I'm like, nope.
No,
But it is because I'm too sensitive. I can't take
So
watching.
can I tell you something?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as too sensitive. You know what my definition of sensitivity
Intuition.
is? It is your heightened awareness of energy. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Heightened
Yeah.
awareness of energy is your. So people will try to tell us we're too sensitive. We're not too sensitive. We just have a heightened awareness of energy, which is all around us. How can that be too
Yeah.
much?
Then
just
why
have
does my
greater awareness.
daughter watch scary movies?
She just has a more capacity. A lot of times, people like with George, like it just is like it doesn't land for us. It lands
in
in
right, yeah.
our energetic field,
Yeah.
and it's pain for me.
It's
I can't
painful
watch.
for
I
me.
can't
That's
watch
why I don't watch
football.
it.
It's painful.
Yeah, I
can't
don't watch it either. My
It's like
kids
it
have never
hurts.
explained it. My kids don't understand it. Like, my son plays rugby, and I'm like, no, I don't like watching
It
it.
hurt- I
They're
literally-
hurting my
it
son. Like, why
hurts.
would I watch that?
Yeah, can't watch it.
No, me either.
Can't
Clay
watch it.
knows that about me. So,
interesting.
thank you.
Oh my goodness,
Thank
this
you.
was wonderful. I
Thank you
loved it.
so
The
much.
First of many.
First of many.
Yeah, I love that.
First of
Thank you
many.
Thank you for
I
inviting
enjoyed
me.
it a lot.
And let's give a shout out to Mark. Thank you for.
Yes, thank you for Mark.
Yeah.
Mark's amazing.